and fragmented .cc's of paranoia and
conspiracy found and destroyed with the media. The union boss, you know this, and now he's trying to be all like, hey man. And I'm like, what's this thing about it? He's like jumping on OBS as well.
So for the viewers at home, it's the union boss, you're saying? The union boss is the cause of the feelings of doom. So I think today on the show, I'm hoping we'll be able to
So I was just thinking of getting rid of them.
Do you think there is some sort of a process we could apply?
Yeah, I think it's chopping them in the TV. This TV right here, so I bought it. He's always telling me this doesn't come to higher frequency of...
Okay, so if we can get that TV, I can get we do have a holography initiation device as well.
I don't own these frequencies because I don't know what's working. This is why I'm not on there.
We'll be back in just a minute. Let's get we're gonna...
Now for a successful interpretation of Pop Idol's biggest hopes and dreams as a true emotional genius he is. Brought to you by Veritas Minimum.
The presence of magnetic hotspots, combined with the intriguing shapes on the satellite images, are enough to convince the Canadian authorities after maybe what actually lies beneath the surface.
I am walking for the first time after many, many months of looking at satellite imagery. This is actually one of the first times where I'm visiting a site where I've processed the data, but I've never even been to a site remotely like it before.
Isolated.
I really had no idea it would be this beautiful. Absolutely no idea at all.
This whole area has rivers and lakes full of fresh water. There is plenty of food and wood in the forests.
Just look at those cliff drops. You know, over the last couple of months, we've spent a lot of time looking along the entire Labrador coast. We looked up every single river, tens and tens of thousands of square kilometers. We've looked in Quebec. We've even looked along the coastline of Maine into Massachusetts. So we've looked everywhere. And from that analysis, this very interesting site appeared. So when we were doing initial processing, all I saw was a dark stain. You can see this slightly darker area right here. That's all I saw. Okay. And I almost discarded it. But when we processed that imagery,
new and potentially intriguing patterns emerge.
That rectilinear structure shows up very clearly here. You know, that you can see the outline of what looks like it's the first site we've had in 55 years that merits closer examination and excavation. Because, I mean, its size, its shape, the fact that the soil's different, the fact that there are these clear rectilinear and oval structures, I mean, it screams, please excavate me.
If this turns... But is there really anything there? Are these the remains of ancient Viking buildings? Or are the patterns of light and dark simply natural, caused by variations in the local geology? He spent 15 years studying and excavating the sites. He's skeptical that the technology will work here.
I mean, it could be a small raised section of rock or sand. As human beings, we are basically made to recognize patterns. We're really good at the must-see. You can certainly look and say, you know, that looks like it looks like a structure. But many of the things that look like buildings in this image do seem to match patchiness in the geology. And about those, I'm extremely suspicious.
With what we've seen on the satellite imagery, you know, it looks very suggestive. We've studied dozens of examples, but we can't be absolutely sure until we go on the ground. And what we do is called ground truthing. It literally means we are confirming whether or not what we've seen from space is actually on the ground. And it's an essential thing you have to do before you start excavation. Step one is non-invasive surveys. So we have to go out on the ground and use a magnetometer to measure what might be buried beneath the ground.
Of this Downer radio broadcast, live from Windsor, Ontario, on Earth. Part one was kind of a crypto-impressionistic exhibition of my wonder at discovering human topographies when I first arrived on Earth. But in our last live broadcast, the thoughts of our listeners were recorded and cataloged in the Quality Assurance Archive in the deep end of the x-axis of the Downer Incorporated's Human Resources grid. And we found that by being transported from Ripple City to Windsor, Ontario, the derivative focus coordinate stamp among viewers shifted and read mostly as confusion. So in this live broadcast, we will address the issue of our broadcasting technique and consequentially adverse human resources code that we have applied. For those of you just joining us, this is the Downer Radio broadcasting on Earth instead of Ripple City. At this point, I have not been able to confirm my suspicions that the priest pharmacist of Ripple City put me here either in bondage to a binary quest involving probably codeine, fentanyl, or automaton impressionistic coding, as well as access to my cryptoganglia, commonly known as the radio brain. So out of indifference, I won't feature broadcasting on that topic until I have more information. In our last broadcast, I came to Earth, and I guess most people thought I was already on Earth, so they were confused. We attribute that confusion to the prohibition of indoor cigarette consumption that is so prevalent on Earth, due probably to limitation coding built into the coding built into Prophet's shortwave chain smoking compression algorithm.
When we go on stage, I let it all in, really, because I love my job so much, and that is neat. But I think away from it, take it in, things like that.
Allow me to explain, with the help of my house band Chirp Chirp, who are live from Airport City currently. City, producing Downer Radio is a decadent lifestyle, wherein we recline into drug-induced dead air opulence in the rafters of Downer headquarters. And because Ripple City is constructed of endless binary apartment nests, we never really fucked with the concept of an audience. We just formulate and loop benevolent frequencies while mandated quality assurance remote access does the rest. So when I professional, found myself on Earth, I just did my job. I applied disintegration research, I manifested dead air. But this is identified as one of the main sources of dissatisfaction among viewers. Directly linear structures. Suspicious, and I'm adapting. Personality cryptex, so because we're live again. To conclude this radio broadcast. So that we can remotely access the quality controlled disintegration binary and construct our next broadcast.